All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about AI today, but not in the way you might be thinking, not as some big, scary, futuristic thing. No, we're talking about AI as something really personal, a tool that could, finally, unlock all those amazing ideas that have been trapped inside our heads. So let's dive in. I mean, really, think about it for a second. Have you ever had that million-dollar idea, that brilliant business plan, or the plot for the next great novel, or even just a simple, perfect fix for a problem you deal with every single day? And what if it just stayed stuck in your head? It's this incredibly frustrating feeling, right? I think we've all been there. See, the problem historically has always been this huge gap between what you can imagine and what you can actually make. You could have the most incredible story in your head, but then you're chained to a keyboard for, I don't know, 1,000 hours trying to get it out. Or you see a clear path to a new business, but suddenly you're drowning in Excel sheets and legal jargon. It's that friction, that barrier of not knowing how to execute, that has basically been a cage for so many brilliant ideas. But what if that cage could finally be unlocked? Well, that's really the core promise of what we're calling common AI. And I want you to think about it less like some complicated machine that you need a special license for. Instead, think of it more like a new alphabet, a fundamental tool for creating things that absolutely everyone can use. And here's the real game changer. It's all about where you put your focus. Before, if you wanted to bring an idea to life, you had to wear a million different hats, right? You had to be a designer, an editor, a coder. All your energy got poured into the technical stuff, the how. But now, with Common AI, the machine takes care of the formatting, the technical weeds, and you get to focus on what actually matters. The substance, the core idea, your unique taste, your intent. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. This is about real people, right now. Think about a single mom who has this incredible family recipe. She doesn't need to spend months learning complicated design software just to make a beautiful label for her sauce. Or what about the mechanic who's figured out this genius fix for a transmission? He doesn't have to become a professional video editor to make a tutorial that can help thousands of people. All of a sudden, their expertise, the thing they're actually good at, is all that matters. So when we talk about this kind of empowerment, what are we really getting? Well, it pretty much boils down to two huge, powerful concepts: freedom and leverage. Let's unpack what those actually mean. Okay, first up, freedom of execution. This is exactly that liberation we were just talking about. It's the idea that the gap between I have a great idea and here's the finished thing just collapses. All those tedious, specialized, annoying tasks that used to stand in your way, they're just handled. And the second piece of this is leverage. Now, you know how we usually think of leverage, right? Like using a crowbar to move a giant rock you can never lift on your own. Well, in this case, the rock isn't physical. The weight is complexity. It's scale. AI gives one single person the power to manage a level of complexity that, until now, was pretty much only possible for huge teams or massive corporations. And this leverage, it basically hands us two brand new superpowers. First, you've got cognitive leverage. Think about it. One person can suddenly do the research of 5 analysts. This frees you up from drowning in data so you can actually see the big picture. Then there's linguistic leverage, which just shatters language barriers. A grandmother in Senegal can have a real-time, meaningful conversation with a doctor in Seoul. I mean, the power in that is just immense. Okay, so this all sounds amazing, right? A tool for everyone, new superpowers. But this is where the story takes a turn. It gets a little more complicated, because with all this incredible new power, we, all of us, are standing at a critical fork in the road for how this technology is going to shape our world. The choice really comes down to this. Is AI going to be common, or is it going to be proprietary? On one side, you have common AI. Again, think of it like the alphabet, a tool so common, so accessible, that we all basically own it. That path leads to a true renaissance of creativity. But on the other side, you have proprietary AI, and that's more like a rented tool. Its power is controlled by someone else, by their terms of service. And that's where all this amazing leverage suddenly becomes a massive risk. Because if that power is controlled, it leads directly to centralized control over who gets to create, and maybe more importantly, what they're allowed to create. And the danger of that proprietary future really boils down to a single chilling idea. Sure, you have freedom, but only if you don't ask the wrong question. Your ability to create, to speak, to connect, it's all conditional. And you're not the one holding the off switch. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. Let's assume we navigate this fork in the road the right way, and AI really does become a common tool for everybody. What does that mean for us? for our work? What's actually valuable when every single person has an AI copilot?
Well, it all comes down to a really simple but honestly profound truth. An AI can generate a million options. It can write 1,000 pages of text. It can design 100 different logos. But the one thing it can never, ever do, it cannot have been you. It just hasn't lived your life. It hasn't seen the world through your specific eyes.
So, if technical skill basically becomes a commodity, something available to anyone, anytime through an AI, then what's left? What are the human skills that can't be turned into a commodity? The things that can't be replicated?
It turns out there are three really big ones. First is your unique lived experience. This is the source code for all your ideas, and it's something an AI can only ever try to simulate, but never truly possess. The second is taste. You know, that gut feeling, that ability to look at 100 things the AI spits out and know that's the one. That's the one that's actually good. And finally, there's trust. The human element, the handshake, the stamp of approval that says, hey, this is real, this is valuable, this isn't just some random machine hallucination. And all of this, everything we've just talked about, it brings us to one final and I think ultimate question. Are we going to build the infrastructure, the systems, to make sure this incredible new power stays common, that it belongs to all of us? Or are we just going to let it pool at the very top, like water that always finds the lowest crack in the floor, leaving everyone else dry? Honestly, the choice we make here is probably going to define the next century.